Animal Crossing is one of Nintendo's most beloved and iconic franchises, and today we're going to be taking a deep dive into this incredible game series and ranking every game on a tier list. We're talking Wild World, City Folk, Amiibo Festival.
I'm even talking about Animal Forest on the freaking N64 drive. I'm losing my mind.
Alright, let's get into this. Alright, first up we've got the original Animal Crossing on the GameCube. The game also was originally released as Animal Forest on the N64, but we don't talk about that one. Essentially, they're the exact same game. This game was definitely fun if you enjoy a classic and more basic experience. For your hardcore gamers, they're definitely going to walk away from this saying, "This isn't the Halo I know!" For starters, this game has very limited customization, with most of it involving clothing and house interiors. Typing in any way in this game is nearly impossible with a Wii Remote. You have to move the nunchuck gently up and down in order to do spaces and capital letters. Now, you might be asking yourself, John, how'd you play this game with a Wii Remote? And to that I say, my lawyers advised me not to finish that sentence, but let it be known, I'm coming for you. This game's graphics, while being nice for a game that ran on the N64 as Animal Forest, just like spoiled milk, isn't very nice now. Also, don't drink the game! The storyline of this game appears to go like this. You show up in town, you get a house. You can't afford that house, so Tom Nook hires you to work off the bills required to pay for it. He only makes you work for a day though, before letting you go to pay it off yourself. It's almost like life, but wait! Where's the tax fraud? Going over a few specific features this game has, the gyroid is definitely pretty cool. It can speak to other players, I think, when they come by, and you have to save by it. Now, due to the limitations of the GameCube and technically the N64 because of Animal Forest, the world is split into sections called acres. By the way, what in the world is up with your character's outfit? He has big horns coming from his head. You look like the thing that my pastor said to stay away from in Sunday school. Everything about this game is pretty basic. However, it's good for being the first game in the series. Side tangent, Blathers appears to not have his certification, so we can't officially examine anything. However, you can send fossils in the mail in order to be examined. You know, how Jurassic Park works. My shipment's here! Another thing to take into consideration is the fact that a couple of dialogue sections have been a tad creepy. Some villagers can be pretty rude to you sometimes. Ricky likes to call me a nutcase. I think I can confidently say that I don't like this game. However, I can see why other people do like it. It has a sort of charm that isn't found in modern games that are more tightly designed and meant to be perfect. This game isn't perfect, and some people like that. But I don't. C tier. Moving right into Wild World for the Nintendo DS. We've got a game that's just better than its predecessor. It gets rid of a few features that made the old one bad, while introducing a few features that made it slightly better. It even introduced hair customization and expanded clothing options, with the prior never before seen in the series. The game starts out pretty similar to the original Animal Crossing. You move in and you have to pay off your house by working for Tom Nook. Once again, tax fraud. Where you at? I'd assume the story is pretty similar past this. I say assume because I didn't really care for the story. I also fell asleep, but that's besides the point. However, there's a slight problem. Tom wants me to mail a letter to someone, but their name wasn't on the list of addresses. Hitting the next button doesn't work either, so just like my love life, I'm stuck. Similar to the previous entry, I didn't love this title, but it was alright. I'm gonna put it one place above the original Animal Crossing in B tier. Next up on our list is Animal Crossing City Folk for the Nintendo Wii. I would consider this entry to be the perfection of the formula started all the way back in the original GameCube, carried over into Wild World, and now perfected in City Folk. Now, when you first arrive in City Folk, you'll notice it feels very similar to Wild World and the original Animal Crossing for the GameCube. The core mechanics remain intact. You arrive in a new town, get a house, and find yourself indebted to Tom Nook. Tax fraud! I'm starting to think you ain't coming! Yes, you'll be working for Mr. Nook once more, performing familiar tasks to pay off your mortgage. It's essentially the exact same as the prior two games with a few minor tweaks that make it a bit more pleasant. Now, one of the most unique aspects of City Folk is the Wiimote motion controls. While innovative, these controls can make typing and even performing basic tasks extremely difficult. I personally do not love the controls of this game at all. However, there is a redeeming quality in this game: the city. Come on, man. This edition is a game changer, providing a whole bunch of amenities all in one place. Let's take a tour. Firstly, there is Katrina's fortune-telling place, where you can get your fortune read for the day. Once again, Lord save us. Next up is Shampoodle, the location where you can change up your hairstyle. There's the auction house, where you can bid on items put up by other players. Then there's Gracie Grace, a high-end store with exclusive fashion and furniture. And guess what? it's just Macy's. Next is Happy Room Academy, where you get your house rated and receive design tips.
Darling, look, I get that the photo looks better in the dining room, but I want it to be in the living room!
There's the Marquee, where you watch shows and learn new emotions from Dr. Shrunk. What? There's an ABD, so you can access any money you may have left in the town without having to return home. Hey, tax fraud, I missed you, buddy. There's Red's secret shop. I do not want to know what goes on back there. And finally, Kicks. He'll shine your shoes for a fresh new look, or a not so fresh look. It's New York. I don't know what happens there. Aside from the city, City Folk also introduces the Tom Nook point system. Every time you buy something at Nook's Cranny, you can earn points. These points can be accumulated and redeemed for exclusive items, adding an extra layer of incentive to your shopping. Josiah, write that down. With all that said, Animal Crossing City Folk is definitely a great game. It's a solid entry that builds upon the successes of its predecessors. I actually enjoy this game quite a lot, almost as much as our next game on this list. Animal Crossing City Folk goes in S tier. Our next game is going to be Animal Crossing New Leaf for the Nintendo 3DS. Now, just right out of the gate, I've got to mention the role switch that takes place here. For the longest time, you were just a basic guy or girl moving into town. This is completely flipped on its head in this game, though, when, you guessed it, you become the mayor. I will avenge you. Now, your character might be confused upon arrival, but thankfully, they quickly take up the mantle of mayor. Let me just say that this shift in responsibility adds a whole new dimension to gameplay, giving you a bit more control over your town's development. Now yes, it's certainly not as much as it could be. New Horizons disproves that. However, it's still a solid addition that hasn't been seen before in the franchise. Now, moving right into typing, which seems to be a really important factor in these rankings, is an improvement over the previous games. It can be a bit cumbersome, especially on the standard 2DS and 3DS systems. I imagine it's a bit better on the 3DS XL and 2DS XL systems, where the larger screen could make typing more manageable. Moving on, New Leaf made a major leap in customization, introducing several new and improved ways to customize things. In terms of the actual changes, we've got exterior house changes, public works projects. These essentially allow you to add and customize town features from benches to fountains, town ordinances, a way to change the way your island behaves, and the expanded clothing system. Speaking of clothing, you're definitely going to want to check out the GCP merch store, so you can pick up dope merchandise like this t-shirt that I'm wearing right here. Quality GCP merch delivered right from your phone to your front door. Check the link in the description and use code RANKED to get 10% off your order. All right, let's get back to the video. Obviously, public works projects are a standout feature in New Leaf. While the customization options for the town itself are somewhat limited, this feature gives you a tangible way to shape your environment. These additions may not be as good as it gets. That comes along in New Horizons, but these methods of customization are far better than anything we've seen in the series so far. Now, another fan favorite of this game is Tortimer Island. Seems Tortimer's alright after all. Thank the Lord! This sunny getaway offers a variety of activities and minigames that provide a nice break from the daily routine of town life. Personally, I spent a decent amount of time here during my peak New Leaf days, though not as much now. The island remains a favorite part of the game for many players. New Leaf is also the first game where you can stack fruit, a small but incredibly convenient feature that makes managing your inventory much easier. Now, there are a few things that New Leaf could have done better. I will admit that. It could have had a much larger inventory. Some may feel that the gameplay of this game is very repetitive, but I think that's the case with every Animal Crossing title. For me, this game is one of my favorites. It holds a lot of memories for me, and I will likely always love it. I'm gonna put it in Dastardly, which if you don't know, actually means the best, not the worst. Up until this point, Animal Crossing has been all about town development. This definitely shifts in our latest entry though, New Horizons. It changed heavily to being much more about customizing your island. It still has a good amount of island development, but really focuses on more customization and making everything look just right for you. Some people don't really like this, opting for a more linear style of gameplay, while others love the inclusion. For me, I'm right in the middle. I love to customize things I want to, but I also enjoy the linear stuff every once in a while, and that makes this game great for me. I still like the older titles though, since the idea of developing a town is very appealing to me. But since the loss of our great friend Tax Fraud, it's gotten quite lonely. Now, moving into the actual features themselves. For one, there are many different islands you can visit through Nook Miles tickets. Now, in some ways, these islands were great. They introduced a way for you to explore and find new things with every island you visit. However, there's a drawback. Tortimer Island in New Leaf had multiplayer minigames. These islands don't have that. They just don't feel the same. Kinda like my brain after watching YouTube Kids. They feel kinda lifeless and boring. Not to say they don't have stuff on them, but there was a huge potential to upgrade what was originally Tortimer Island and make it a thing here in New Horizons. It sort of works super well with these islands themselves, but having a specific larger island could have been great for hosting these minigames. There's also another island called Harvey's Island, where you can find different vendors that you have to unlock by paying bells, as well as a nifty area for taking pictures. Now, let's talk about the expanded grid. Inside your house, you have a grid, and technically outside as well. And in past Animal Crossing games, it used to be, as an example, 4x4. Well, in New Horizons, they actually increased the size to, for the example, 8x8. These aren't the exact measurements, but it's a basic explanation. But all you need to know is that they doubled the grid size, allowing for the ability to place things in a much greater variety of places thanks to an increase in the grid size for literally placing anything anywhere. This is actually a pretty big deal since it improves the ability to customize things quite a bit more than before. Now, another thing that you absolutely must talk about with New Horizons is the crafting. It really turns everything up a notch. Did I just make 2 Minecraft jokes in one sentence? Man, I'm good at this. Crafting is essentially just taking materials that you find on the island and putting them together into a single item. I don't personally craft things very often, but it's still very sick for those who do. As somebody who loves the fuse and alter hand abilities in Tears of the Kingdom, this is a more than welcome inclusion to the game. Here's a cool feature combo for you: farming and cooking. It's like a Cracker Barrel up in here. They added farming into this game later in its life, and boy was it epic. This actually adds a bit to the crafting, but adds another layer on top of it, as though it wasn't already complicated enough already. One thing with the crops that I noticed was that it was actually somewhat difficult to find these farmable items. I managed to get them to a friend's island, but I didn't get them myself. Cause like, what else are friends for than to use them to get items in Animal Crossing? There's also one of the biggest features of this game: terrain manipulation. No, the hills are not possessed. Where do I even begin with this? Essentially, you can manipulate the earth and the water almost any way you'd like. Avatar? Pfft, nah. Animal Crossing's where it's at. Whether you want your island to be all land or all water, you can really do whatever you want. Genuinely, you've just got to try this for yourself. There was also quite recently an update that added DLC for Happy Home Designer to New Horizons called Happy Home Paradise. It's basically the Happy Home Designer game as DLC with some added goodies. And as I'm a poor skinny white guy, I don't own it. Finally, and I promise this is the last feature I'm going to talk about, there is outside furniture. Come on, who wouldn't want their $1,700 chair in their front lawn? This could never go wrong. Are those storm clouds? Why are you so heavy? Now, I do understand that some people are not going to like this game as much as others, but you've just got to remember that this is my tier list and I make the rules here. With that, I'm going to be putting Animal Crossing New Horizons in Dastardly. And moving right along, we're going to get right into the spin-off games. The first game here is Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer. This game was essentially, as the name implies, a home designer. It was basic, but fun. It had Animal Crossing New Leaf's building engine, but it was slightly buffed, and it also had ceiling items. I find the story of this game to also be pretty fun, since it really just guides you through the game very smoothly. It had you fix up the town and remodel the interior of all the buildings there. Personally, this game was pretty fun for me. It wasn't like my favorite, but it was still a great game. Some of the community would definitely disagree with me here, but S tier. Well, Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival? This game tried to bring the charm of the series to a party game, but it was about as much fun as watching paint dry. And not even colorful paint. Beige paint. So much for Paper Mario Color Splash. I wasn't able to play this entry due to the fact that I didn't have a physical Animal Crossing Amiibo, and thank God I didn't! However, I think everybody can agree that this game isn't the best. Far from it. F tier. Finally, we've got Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. One of the core aspects of Pocket Camp is crafting and decorating your campsite. Unlike the mainline games, which focus more on island development, although New Horizons definitely focuses more on customization, Pocket Camp doesn't just place its emphasis somewhere. It is the entire point of the game, customizing your campsite. This can seem pretty boring. And in all honesty, it really is. You can only get so much enjoyment from moving an item from point A to point B. Come on, man. One of the methods of customization in this game is through crafting. This system is very straightforward. You open the crafting menu, select what you want to make, pay a fee, and provide the necessary materials. Then you wait for Cyrus to finish crafting your item. Of course, if you're impatient, you can skip the wait time by spending leaf tickets, which are the game's premium currency. Ah yes, Minecraft, but a fee for everything you want to make. This isn't Animal Crossing. This is pathetic! Speaking of leaf tickets, microtransactions are a significant part of Pocket Camp. You can essentially purchase leaf tickets with real-life dollars in order to speed up wait times. While not overwhelming, they're present enough to be noticeable. Whether you're looking to speed up crafting times, purchase premium items, or participate in events, leaf tickets can make a difference. But don't worry, you can still progress without spending money, though it might take longer. Time travel is possible, and leaf tickets prove it. However, there are definitely some downsides to this game, not including the fact that you have to pay money in order to craft things. Villager personalities are way more limited compared to the main games, which can make interactions feel very repetitive. Hello, hello, Hello. Additionally, like the other games in the series, Pocket Camp is a long-term goal game, and the grind is real. Okay, come on. Who gave my script to Andrew Tate? If you're not into time investment games, this might not be for you. As I spend most of my time upside down watching random Minecraft videos at 4 in the morning, it's a miracle I could get into this. But look at those Leaf tickets. They're just begging to get bought. I mean, $460 isn't that much when you think about it. The game also features gacha mechanics through fortune cookies where you can obtain rare items. Honey, sell the house. We're investing in Chinese cookies! And just a thing to keep in mind with this, it's a mobile game. Most mobile games are a grab for your money. So keep your phone in your hand and your wallet at a minimum of 1,500 feet away. With all that said, Pocket Camp goes in B tier. And with that, consider the Animal Crossing games ranked. Don't forget to check out the GCP merch store and also check out our Discord. Both are linked in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.